Hello, everybody. Hello, I'm here. It's gonna be a fun day. I'm gonna put my timer on. This is not going to be a long live today. I'm not gonna let myself be a long live. Yay, Marcia. Yay, you're here. Okay, everybody. Hi, Shara. Yay, my buddies. Okay, first off, I have to talk about how... Okay, well, I'm going to talk about you, Marcia, because I'm going to talk about how you enabled me by watching a video where, from Strawberries, she, showed her little book that she made using these thingies, right? This, this ribbon, faux leather, ribbon-y stuff that I can't sell because I can't get it because it's at Hobby Lobby. But, I could sell it. Like, I could cut pieces off and sell it, right? Or, maybe I'll put some in with people's orders. Wouldn't that be funny? Here's a random piece of pink strawberries, yeah. And here's a random piece of fake leather. Yay! But I love this. Look at this aqua. It's so pretty. And look, it goes so well with the mermaid shiny one. So, yeah. So if I might, because I'm sure I'll have extras, because I'm sure I would never use more than just like a little tiny bit. But, because she really does in her books, she doesn't use a whole bunch. But I was thinking about how I could do little, you could easily, I think this is, I haven't even opened it. Yeah, you could sew this, like, you could just fold that up and just maybe stitch along the edges and make some cute little, I don't know, coin purses or something. Yeah, I could sell a kit. Okay, we'll put that idea in my head. Okay, so I'm going to do something so exciting today. I was thinking I would do some watercolor, which is so exciting, but it's also so incredibly soothing and calming. And I haven't done watercolor in a while, and I want to play with it some more. So I hope you guys don't mind that I'm going to do that, because I can do whatever, really. I was just thinking it's kind of hard to do anything really paper crafting in a really short amount of time. I could do some collage if you wanted me to. But what I thought was really neat was I have this, these couple of these refills. They're just called Junque Journal Mixed Media Sheets refills. I have this one that's watercolor paper, and I have one that's craft paper. And, I only have a couple of these in the shop. I don't have a lot, but they're kind of made for putting in a 3-ring binder. I'm sorry, I'm kind of zoomed in. But, so there's craft ones and there's watercolor ones. And the fun part about the watercolor ones is that they fold out. So, and I have one that kind of flips up. Woo! So it's kind of like a folio in a way that it has that interactive, options, which I think is pretty fun. So when I was looking at this, I noticed on her packaging, she has, that you kind of use it as a background for like a memory book or something like that. So I thought, well, that would be kind of fun. I could just use it treat it as a background that I might use in a future project. Maybe memory keeping, maybe not. I don't know. I don't really print my pictures, so it's kind of hard for me to say that I would use it for memory keeping, but I could also use it as a future junk journal. So it doesn't bother me that it has holes in it. I can cut the paper. I can do whatever I want with it. I think it'll just be fun. So that's why I was going to do some watercolor today, just to play with watercolor, see what I kind of get, and hopefully chat with you guys a little bit along the way. So, I'm just going to use this is the Altenew 36 pan set, half pans. It's a pretty nice set for what's probably kind of a mid-level craft grade watercolor. It's not like fancy top of the line watercolor over here, but it's not bad. I like it a lot to use for lots of different things. So I think we'll just kind of play with it and chat as we go. So tell me if you guys do watercolor very often or anything like that, or hey, this really stinks and I want you to do something else, Anna. I like to do that too. So tell me what you think if you want me to do something different. Otherwise, I'm just going to play with watercolor as we talk. Looks like nobody does watercolor, but that's okay. Oh, and I'm probably actually going to open this up. There we go. My favorite thing about watercolor is when it blooms, like around the edges here, how it's kind of feathering out. I love that effect. So I've never really tried to do a watercolor background like for a mixed media. Usually I play with watercolor for a while and then I'll forget about it and I'll start playing with acrylic and I'll go back later and I'll be like, how do I do watercolor again? I don't really remember. I have to reacquaint myself with watercolor, especially the different kinds. It's a little darker. And how they play and how it interacts with each other. All right, Shara, well, we can help you with that. I can help you with that. Let me be your watercolor coach. I don't know how to do watercolor, but I can tell you there's a lot of really fun people you can follow to get inspired to do watercolor. Sandy Alneck, she does cards mostly, but she's an amazing watercolor artist. She does such really fun videos. Just playing. Purple. Big surprise, right? Big surprise about purple. Tell me if you can't see. Watercolor pencils. Yeah. So, I don't really know how to use watercolor pencils, but I imagine that they would be useful. But I'm also not much for coloring, so I can see if you like coloring that would be a fun thing to play with. Which kind do you use? Okay, I like how it's getting a little bit different color here. The thing I learned about my watercolors, when you have pans, you can have pans or you can have tubes, which is what I've learned. I didn't even know there was such a thing as watercolor tubes. Well, I think I knew it. I just didn't really care because I'm not a fancy watercolor professional, any sort of level artist, right? I was using watercolor mostly for painting my stamped cards and stuff like that, which I still like to do. So it's hard to talk and paint at the same time. But so what I learned was you have pans, which I like these that are dry, and then you have tubes. And you get the tubes and you put them in the pans in order to use them, but then you don't use as much at one time. So basically that's what the pans are. They have been, I guess, dispensed from a tube into the pan. And so I find that the ones that come from tubes tend to be much more saturated color and much brighter. And I don't know if it's the brand. It just happened to be that I bought some recently. I bought some of the fancy ones, which are the Daniel Smiths, that tend to be pretty pricey. And I bought some pans. They had some 6-color pans. You can get like a couple of different coordinating groups of colors. And so I bought some. Of course, I bought all the blues and moody blues kind of. And I bought some that I didn't realize. I was just on Dick Blick and I was just buying like, what should I buy? Oh, I'll just buy a couple of different brands because I've heard about them and I want to try them out. And so I bought some I bought some Daniel Smiths and I bought some the other ones I bought were Core, Q-O-R, which are apparently made by Golden. And those are, but when I bought those, I didn't realize I was buying a 6-tube set and I had to put them in the pans, which was good because the watercolors that I got from Daniel Smith, turns out those actually had extra pans in them and I didn't even know that they would come that way, but they came in a 12-pan set with only 6 of them filled. So I used the extra pans. If you don't know what pans are, those are the little square things that the paint goes in. And since, sorry, let me just, so I put the core in there and tried them out, and I love the core. The Daniel Smiths to me do not have the same bloom effect that the core do. Don't know if that's because they're pans versus tubes. I haven't tried any Daniel Smith tubes because the tubes usually cost about, that's not true. I have one that's a tube. Those cost about $6 or $7 each per color. And I think I got the pan with 6 colors, set for probably like $12 or $15 or something. It was a way different price. Granted, you could probably argue that it's a way different amount of paint, but when I was looking at overall price of how much I wanted to spend on it, it was definitely seemed more economical to buy the pan set. So, but I don't know that I'll be investing in any of that, more of that anytime soon. It was just kind of a fun experiment at the time. All right. So a lot of times when you're doing watercolor, you probably want to, a lot of people, professional people, not me people, but other people, will tape down their paper on the edges because that way it will prevent it from buckling quite so much when it gets wet. To me, if it's good paper, it won't buckle, but this is watercolor paper for crafty purposes. It is from American Crafts, and nothing on here says what the weight of the paper is. I have no idea, but it works for what it is. It'll be fine, I think. I'm gonna do some blue. Ooh, pretty blue. So, hi Zoe. I like that I know people now. This is really cool. I feel like I have friends. I have friends online. Okay. Watercolor on the fly is very different than what I'm used to. So it's fun though. And so you have tubes, you have pans. I've mostly worked with pans, which is what these are. And this is basically a different level or grade of watercolor than what you would have if you have, it's definitely not the same as a Daniel Smith or a Core or a Holbein, I think is another brand, which I have like one of those. I said I was buying several just because I wanted to try them out and see what the difference was. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't have an option to sell them in my store because I'm still trying to figure out where I would buy those from to get them. But I don't know that there's people in my store who want, or my customers who want me to buy them. So at this point, it was just kind of let me just play with it. But I do have the Ultra New colors, and I think these are good if you are going to do coloring your cards, or, you're not really trying to do fine art. If you just want to do weird mixed media stuff like I do. Okay. Try not to mix my colors. I want to mix colors, but I don't want to mix you really don't want to, if you mix the oranges and the reds, you're going to get some really weird effects. So we don't really want to do that. I'm just going to keep playing with water. The fun part with watercolor is you literally can do a lot just by adding or even removing the water. So you can actually take water away with your brush, which I always forget you can do that. But you can actually just go in and just swipe it over. You probably can't see that because it's off the camera. Move these up. There we go. Oh, this is the Altenew 36 pan set, half pans. I have these in the store. They're very nice, and they come this, and actually on the packaging it tells you the colors, and I did a swatch of all the colors just so I could get an idea, because it's sometimes hard to look at the pans when they're dry and say, oh yeah, I know that's that dark purple or light purple or whatever color. Okay, so I learned you're supposed to dry, when you are done with your brushes, you're supposed to lay them flat so they can dry flat. I learned that along the way. You're supposed to have two jars of water, one for rinsing your brush off, the color off of it, and then a clean one that you'll use before you get your next color. Oh, there's my timer. I'm gonna put some more water on this and see what happens when I put some. Okay. Just getting in my flow. Can't be done now. Okay. Let's do a blue right here. If you have enough water in your place, in the area where you're working, it will make really cool blooming effects, which is fun. And you can go back, like I said, you can go back and you can actually, if you add a little bit of water, you can actually take some of it away. If you want to. Or you can just add water so that you can get an interesting bloom. See if Mr. Whiskers will come join us for a moment. I think he wants to. I have seen some really cool things people do with, they'll do let's see how they do it. They'll do like blue, and then they'll do black inside of it, and it looks like and it makes it look like a galaxy. So, I don't know I haven't practiced it enough to really know how to do it, but it looks really cool when you do it right. And then I also like to go back in and just kind of go across and see what happens. Because sometimes it's still wet and you can get some really interesting blooming effects. The bloom is the way to go. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you haven't watched that Strawberries video about making that little book, you should watch it, because then you'll want to go to Hobby Lobby and buy the wide ribbon, which I think is really cool, and I wish that I could buy it from my store. Dear Hobby Lobby, can I buy wholesale from you? That would be interesting, right? Instead of competing with them, I would just be selling their products. It's an idea. Okay. It's kind of pretty. It kind of almost looks like a sunset a little bit on that side. I don't know. Kind of looks like a mess. So, well, I hope you guys are going to have a great day. When I'm done with this, of course, I'm going over to my store to work on orders. Had a sale. I still have a sale, actually. It's still going on. I extended it. Or I never ended it. So, it will go on until Sunday. So if you're waiting for payday, you still have time. It's dies, stamps, and paper, including what's left of the Maggie Holmes from Garden Party, is all marked down. Paper's marked down 10%. Dies are 25, sorry. Dies are 25 and stamps are 20, or vice versa. But all the pricing is already updated. So you'll see the actual price and the compare price, and that's 20 or 25% discounted. Here comes the cat. He loves watercolor. He's always interested in it. Kind of looks like mountains, maybe? Now you need torn strips. Oh, on my paper? To go on my paper? Yeah. What I really need is a typewriter. Oh, I have 2 typewriters, but neither one of them works. They're just kind of supposed to be for display purposes, but yet they're not displayed anywhere. They're just one's in a box. One comes in its own box, and I need to see if I can get a ribbon for it. But maybe I could get some, maybe I can find some stamps that have affirmations. I like to use Dina Wakely's, but her stuff's not really, it's kind of affirmations, but hers kind of more snarky stuff. But we'll see. That's a good idea. That would be pretty on here. I'm trying to get them to cut. You know, really, they're not really gonna like match. Like, you'll see one on this side and then one on the other. So they're not really one big picture. Could be, but they're not really. Yeah, the lady faces. I know that one. I have a whole bunch. Oh, actually, I ordered. Where are they? I have a whole drawer of these collage papers from Dina. That one's pretty. It's a really big picture. Some of them are very, very big. But, yeah. Definitely have to wait for it to dry, though. Maybe it will have to be a follow-up episode. So, you can do what they call like wet on wet, which is literally wet that you just go back and add more. That's what I've kind of been doing. Or you have a wet surface that you've already gotten it wet before you started. But you can also do dry or go back and add more. It's kind of, I think they call it like glazing, where once it's dry, you go back and add more color. It reactivates a little bit. Gold embossing. Oh, gold. Okay, you know what? Because you said gold, I have gold paint, but I also have, I'll find them. Oh yeah, I know they are. So I took out, so I was talking about my pans earlier. This is hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom out. Okay. This is my, this is a Dina Wakely gel plate holder, metal storage thing, but I use it to put all of my loose little pans that I was talking about, my, the ones that I have. These are Jane Davenport, but then these are the ones from Daniel Smith, and then these are some my cores right here. And all I did was I put a little piece of magnet on the bottom, and it sticks them down. But these are my metallic Altenews, because I have a set in the store that is both the 36 pan and half pans and the metallics. You can get both at the same time. So I put all my loose pans together like this because I thought that would be easier than trying to keep track of all my separate little pans. And then I have a couple of these. These are from some people on Etsy, I think, that I bought. They're sparkly, like the metallics. Before I knew what watercolor I was doing with watercolor, I was like, oh, I could buy a little set? Okay. So, let's see. If you're using pans, you should spray them a little bit to get them started, especially the metallics. The metallics are especially fun on dark, like on, my bottle is not cooperating. On a black paper. They're like interference where they show up better on black. But let's do, here's my big brush. Let's see what happens if we do this. for fun. I have those metal tins. Yes, I have those in the store. They are the ones, they're called gel plate storage tins, but because they're big and made kind of like the size of a gel press plate. But I don't have that size plate. I have 8x5s. I mean 8x10s. You could probably fit a couple plates in there, but I just store my plates in their own containers. Okay, so I'm putting water over this. Yeah, it's smearing a little bit, but that's okay. Now we're going to see this gold. I like to use a metallic and kind of try to make it look like a vein. Yeah, I was just trying to come up with ways to store those pans, and I looked at a whole lot of different things. Like I looked online on Amazon and all around and Etsy to see what kind of different pans I could get. Nobody really makes them that are big enough to hold lots of them. I've seen ones where if you make your own if you are going to use the tubes and make your own pans, you can get like these like Lazy Susan ones, but nobody really had ones that you can just put your own pans in. Okay, I think this is working. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't think it'll really tell until it dries. That one's kind of, it might be too wet. I might have gone a little crazy with the wet. Maybe I should have waited for it to be drier. I don't know. Well, that's the experiment side. All right. Okay. Thank you for that suggestion to do the gold on top. I like that. I could show that. We'll see how that looks. I'll take a picture later when it's a little drier. It's very shiny right here. I like that. Cool. Okay. Oh, hi, Sally. Yeah, we did some watercolor. We did some gold on top of the watercolor. And talked about my watercolor that I have from Altenew and from, and that kind of thing. I don't have the brushes, although I do have some watercolor brushes in the store. I don't have the silver black velvet brushes, which I like. I bought those from Dick Blick before I had the store. So, but I do have a few different options for watercolor brushes in the store too. So, I think we're going to let this dry, and I'll post a picture later, and I think we're going to wrap it up. So, thank you everybody who joined and talked, and ooh, gold cosmic shimmer. That would be a good idea. Sorry, squirrel brain, I just saw that comment. We'll see what we add to it later. It'll be interesting. I like to just do backgrounds. So we'll have some good ideas there. So, all right, everybody, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Tuesday or on Friday on Facebook at about 9:30. So, thank you, everybody. Bye.